Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for the enlightening session.
Um, I would now like to introduce and invite the team from Srishti Manipal institutions. We are joined by Dr. Sanjupta Ghosh, Head of Design-led Innovation, Dr. Mamta Sagar, Head of Studies, Creative Writing Program at Media Arts and Sciences, and Vinita Rath, Head of Studies, MA in Experience Design, and also Dr. Pooja Jain, who is the Academic Dean of PG Programs. Let us take a few minutes to introduce them. So Dr. Sanjukta is a passionate researcher. Her research expertise is in the area of behavioral science with focus on consumer behavior and market intelligence through qualitative and quantitative techniques. She strongly believes in Peter Drucker's philosophy that what can be measured can be managed. For the last few years, she has been extensively working in the areas like traditional knowledge, local economy, livelihood, and community development. Her current area of research also includes understanding India's social innovation landscape through technology intervention. Her research findings have been published in journals of national and international repute. She completed her doctoral studies from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur in 2016. Prior to that, she had her MPhil in marketing from West Bengal University of Technology. Sanjukta has 20 years of experience, which includes research, academics, and industry. She is currently associated as a faculty and responsible for a master's program named Design-led Innovation at Srishti Institute of Art and Design and Technology under Bangalore Central University. She teaches research methods for undergraduate, postgraduate, and doctoral students. Her area of teaching also includes user behavior, technology startup, ecosystem, data science, and innovation management.
Dr. Mamta Sagar is a poet, writer, academic, and translator. Her doctoral work in comparative literature from University of Hyderabad is titled as Gender, Patriarchy, and Resistance: Contemporary Women's Poetry in Kannada and Hindi. She has taught comparative literature, translation studies, Kannada literature, feminism, post-colonial, and cultural studies at the Hyderabad Center University and Bangalore University. Mamta is actively involved with international poetry translation projects from the UK, Slovenia, Spain, Germany, and facilitates poetry and translation work. Internationally. She has been a guest editor for Muse India, the literary e-journal, issue 96, and her editorial is titled as A Decade-Long Literary Experience through Translation. She has 3 poetry films titled Interversions 1, 2, and 3, produced with Srishti Films as part of the Wales India Collaborative Projects. Art poetry installation project developed and co-curated by Dr. Mamta is on display at the Piccolo Museo della Poesia, Italy. Her areas of interest include curating poetry performances and installations, poetry in public spaces, transdisciplinary engagements with text, sound, visual, and performative mediums of art. Presently, Professor Sagar is Head of Studies, Creative Writing Program at Media Arts and Arts and Sciences, Srishti Manipal Institute of Art, Design, and Technology, Bengaluru.
Professor Vinita's journey and practice are quintessentially an inconsistent exploration of people and their relationships with the world around them. People and their relationships with spaces as an architect, with objects as an industrial designer, with interfaces as a usability analyst, and then people and matters of interactions, interactivity, and lived experiences as a user experience designer and design strategist. And now, as an educator and learning facilitator, she engages in the deeply exciting space of pedagogy, where she, alongside her students, actively study, question, and collectively speculate on how to more consciously understand and craft their experiences towards more wholesome and human futures. Her practice is deeply informed by somasthetics, which is an understanding of our own human bodily sentient cells and how that might help us become better, saner earthlings. Thus, aside from heading the MA in Experience Design program and her teaching responsibilities at SMI, she passionately runs an informal experiential lab space called Somascapes Lab. This lab is envisioned to bring together thoughtful individuals who are not afraid to ask very uncomfortable and honest questions about we as humans live, operate, imagine, experience, and even define ourselves today, and through a somasthetic sensitivity, cultivate more integrated and meaningful design practices for themselves. Earlier, she has worked with global companies like Standard Bank, South Africa, and Globe Telecom Philippines as a senior usability analyst at Human Factors International and consulted as a design researcher at BRND Studios, Mumbai. She has also been an active part of three startup journeys as design consultant for Fooderna, Sweden, as lead UX strategist at Dobie Station, and as the chief experience officer at Hugh Sutra. She has a bachelor's degree in architecture from CET Bhubaneswar and a postgraduate degree in industrial design from IDC IIT Bombay. A hearty welcome to all our professors, and we hand over the speech.
Hello and a very warm welcome. I am Vinita Rath and I manage the Experience Design program at Srishti, SMI, Srishti Manipal Institute of Art, Design and Technology. And that might have been quite a mouthful, the word somesthetics. I'm sure that word you would have heard for the first time. And my introduction has been a rather informal one. It's about me as a student in architecture and practitioner of architecture in my initial years, how it was about people and spaces, and then it moved to people and objects, and those relationships as an industrial designer, and I've done planning work before. And so it has always been getting into how we understand how people relate to the spaces around them, the environments around them, the objects around them, and how that evolution has very organically led me to experience design now. And I'm hoping each of you can also embark on a more exciting journey of seeing the connections as you move forward in your practices, because that sensitivity builds over time. So what I'm going to talk a little bit more about is experience design. But if I could just have a show of hands of how many of you actually carry your phone to the bathroom also? Me too. And why is that? Yeah? Some of you who do, or some of you who can't leave your phone even when you go to sleep. What is it a sign of? Somewhere our lives are also mapped to these devices. I didn't leave it when I came on stage also. And it is telling of a culture of us being invaded in our worlds through digital artifacts, very subtly, very slowly, but it's a shift that is permanent. So what we do in experience design is actually try to understand how those new relationships are building when it comes to digital technologies, and how we may also reorient ourselves. So I will just ask another question. How many of you have heard the term UX and UI in this room? How many of you might want to pursue it as a career? Some of you? Okay, that's nice, because it is open to interpretation for you as well. So currently, people who work in a UI or UX space, they should not ideally be spoken together, because user interface is the interfaces that you see. This is more like a crash course in experience design, so that you get a taste of it. So bear with me on that. And UX is the user experience design. And now we are trying to challenge even the notions of, is a screen all there is to doing design in experience design? So we kind of stretching the definitions for not just India, but across the world, when we actually challenge this concept of UI and UX. You can please look that up. There are these courses on Udemy and Google, which say, you do this and then you'll get a job there. But the whole idea of experience design is way more. And as architects, I would really encourage you to look at this as a practice, because we are not creating only physical environments. We are creating digital, virtual environments all the time. So how do we really craft for those spaces is something that we explore here. So we do not only go by the theory, but also by the practice of what it means to be embodied in digital and physical spaces, and from that sensitivity, take it forward. So it is certainly not UI UX the way it is understood. So when you're looking for a UI UX course, maybe this is not the experience design program, but it certainly is way more than that. And we encourage people from sociology, people from dentistry. We have very interesting kinds of people who come into this program after 3 years practice because it's an MA program. It opens out for people who want to explore the world of digital materials and how the future can be shaped. So if you are interested in creating interactive spaces, this is possibly some very interesting courses that are possible in this program. So the screen that you see is the tip of the iceberg. And what I want to bring to the understanding in this space of experience design is the visual design or the surface design that people want to design apps for is just the top surface. But what happens below it is architecture again. So the first generation of interaction designers were architects who understood how to design or craft for spaces. And what is interesting is there are these many unknowns, and as architects or aspiring architects, you would know how the contexts are very complex. So that is at the bottom level, and then you have strategy, scope, structure, skeleton, and then you see an app. And the spirit of the program is also to cut across not just the surface, not those typical courses that you see that you can do a screen design, then you know how to do an app design. That's not like that. You really need to go below, and then we are actually challenging even that. Is this even enough? And why we are talking about these fundamental questions is, can you really do experience design is the bigger question. You can't. You can design for an experience, and then the interaction with that situation gives rise to an experience within the person. So, but how do you craft for experiences is what we explore through some aesthetic sensitivities, but not only that, and there's a lot of field work that happens. So service design, cross-disciplinary research, and somesthetics, these kind of anchor the base work of what we do in experience design. And I think this is largely the spirit of the program. I'll just keep this screen for a bit. We are looking at more complex systems and services, and you may be able to put down things on paper, but when things come to the ground, they're more complex. So how do we negotiate that is something that's explored. And what I would want to rather leave this space and you guys with the thought of experience design as something not restricted to only what visually or visibly the devices today make us do, but the complex infrastructures that inform it. There is data, but that is biased. So we are not really looking at only just making something, but also asking about the ethics behind whatever we create. So it's a more wholesome program in terms of looking at modern technologies and the spaces we create, even when we create a very innocent app or on our phones, to virtual technologies, virtual headsets, for example. When you're doing experience work, if you put it on your eyes, the whole experience of mounting a digital object is also an experience. It's not only once you enter a VR space. So those are the nuances and concerns that we explored more here. Yeah, and that's more about what we do in experience design. If you have any questions, please ask us at the end of the conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us here today. Now, I'm Mamta Sagar, and I will be introducing the Masters in Contemporary Art Practice. And this has been designed by 5 faculty: Asta Chauhan, Anil Kumar, Kush Patel, myself, and Shai. This one? Well, whatever image you see on the slide, all those images are part of our courses that we have been doing in Srishti and Srishti Manipal Institute of Art Design and Technology. And this entire MA in Contemporary Art Practice is actually rooted in the making, theorizing, and researching art and cultural productions in society. So CAP, or Contemporary Art Practice, MA in Contemporary Art Practice, invites people who are interested in making and thinking through theories or researching and looking at the cultural productions in society by working across a range of practices in the field of fine arts, performance, film, digital humanities, and public art. Students will be encouraged to explore transdisciplinary methodologies towards nurturing their own artistic and humanistic sensibilities and skills. Um, People who are wanting to write, always wanting to write, or wanting to do a public work, or wanting to do a site specific work in a different way. Architects wanting to look at the sites, understand the sites in a really different way, are most welcome into this course. These explorations will draw from art history, media, cultural studies, translation, literary studies, critical technological studies, gender and sexuality studies. These are the areas from which we actually bring in expertise and give an exposure to the students who would opt for contemporary art practice. And our vision statement is the MA in contemporary art practice will sharpen students' artistic and cultural practices by exposing them to transdisciplinary practice in making, theorizing, and researching. The cultural intersections of the arts, technology, and the social justice. So, what we would want to say is here is like we would want the students not just to sit in the classes, but get engaged with whatever is happening around them, and respond to the socio-cultural, socio-political realms of day-to-day life and society. Um, and some of the careers prospectus are the MA Contemporary Art Practice will prepare the students for careers in arts and cultural institutions, academia, publishing, galleries, archives, and cultural platforms. So we would want people who are wanting to creatively engage with their dreams and aspirations of becoming somebody, maybe an artist, maybe a writer, maybe somebody who would want to be an art historian or work in the publishing spaces as editors or whatever, and cultural platforms which allows them to become or engage their works or their practice, develop their practice within multidisciplinary space by imbibing various kinds of exposures. The program offers an exceptional opportunity to advance studies in historical, cultural, and political context of the South Asian and its connection with the rest of the world. So, students are also encouraged to take further, continue their work as scholars of PhD or independent scholars working in diverse fields or transdisciplinary fields. So, through creative inquiry based learning and community engagements, when I say community engagements, we will want our students to work with the communities, and each of us who have designed this program have been part of diverse kind of works that happen in connection with communities, sites, and cities, and spaces, small and big spaces, and everything. So, through creative inquiry-based learning and community engagements, this program embodies the interconnectedness of the art, technology, and social justice. We have core studios. Some of the core studios, we have 4 core studios. The first one is text and performance. Text, when I say text is everything connected with words. Text is also something that is produced while you perform. Performative text can be multiple. It depends on, it changes along the way you perform. Public art, archive and digital storytelling, image and form making. And we have electives. Electives are in both studios and seminars. These are the format in which the electives are offered. City narratives, politics of curatorial practice, moving moving image art, gender and technology, artist book and cataloging and editing, art history and historiography. These are the electives that we would offer under the core studios, which have been 4 core studios. And we connect with certain labs and centers that are already there in the Srishti Manipal run. So, Just Future Co-Lab is one. Art Science Bangalore, Center for Translation Studies, and Laila Artist Research Studio. So the proposed course structure will be like this. Year 1 semester will have 2 semesters, semester 1 and semester 2. In first cycle will be for 7 weeks, foundation studios with 8 credits, cycle 2 7 weeks, seminar, studios, project and allied courses, all 4 credits. So students can get all these. And year 2 has third semester, and year 2 has third and fourth semesters. In the third semester, cycle 1, 7 weeks of research studio mentorship for 8 credits. We will have where students can also go beyond the MA art practice to get the mentorship from when they do the transdisciplinary or interdisciplinary work, they can get the mentorship from beyond their department. Cycle 2, again for 7 weeks, it's a rigorous writing seminar where critical essays will be written for credit. So students will not just learn making, they will also learn analysis. Writing will be a must, and they will learn writing and connecting with the making and thinking and performance and diverse kinds of works of art that they get engaged with. And year 2, semester 4, we have PG capstone for a period of 18 weeks, which is 20 credits. It is rigorous. So please, if you're interested, contact us. We are wonderful faculty who are all artists, who are all artists slash performers, writers, academics who are into social justice and talking about body, sexuality, queerness, and everything. It's an open space, welcome space. We are very, very inclusive. So here are some of us whom you can contact. Asta Chavan, Anil Kumar, Push Patel, here Mamta Sagar, Shai. And for admissions, please look at this. Thank you. Any questions? I'll come back later. Thanks.
Okay. Hi. So we'll just, instead of going into various kinds of program we were talking about, now we will move to a program which is Masters in Design program, which is purely based on design, technology, and business, but definitely very, very inclusive. And so in order to start with, we conceived this idea of design-led innovation in 2015. Basically the term design and innovation was coming up in a very big way during that time. And now, as you all know, this new education policy is also focusing predominantly on design thinking and design tools for various kinds of structured program which is already there. So basically the objective during that time to bring in this design thinking for various kinds of disciplines who come through a very structured education domain, predominantly engineering, and how do we nurture design thinking element and nurture a bit of empathy, bit of care, bit of system thinking in them. So which is in a very transdisciplinary, interdisciplinary way. So now moving forward to this, we wanted to, as we mentioned, that we wanted design to enhance outcomes of numerous innovative activities, which is already happening there in various domain, which where we we tried and we intended to bring some kind of creative thinking, some kind of social thinking to them, to understand various industry problem, predominantly industry problem, but that also holds true for social problem. How do we optimize resources? How do we enhance a supply chain mechanism? How do we improve quality of the product that is being produced? How do we move towards much more sustainable production ecosystem and things like that? So the main vision of the program is that we create a set of capabilities in a person who can implement design practices and drive innovation and strategy in a business or a social organization. Business doesn't necessarily mean that it is a for-profit. It can be not for-profit too. So in that case, how do we take up various emerging approach in terms of harnessing emerging technology, at the same time harnessing traditional knowledge, and how do we deeply understand whatever we are trying to harness or whatever knowledge we are trying to mine in a very complex context, in a very complex ecosystem, through a deeper understanding. So when we were thinking, and we still believe on certain things, that how can we dream about an impactful or a novel idea? For example, there are a lot of ideation exercise which our students keep on doing, which is a very common practice in design and architectural schools, that they come up with novel ideas, they come up with very innovative ideas, but the main objective is that how do we make impact on the ground. So that is where we play a very significant role, and in terms of the way we deliver the program, that how do we nurture innovation, how do we take various strategic steps to actually implement those ideas on the ground and create an impact for the society at large. So how do we translate an idea and create an impact is something which we keep on kind of keep on repeating in the course again and again, that it's not the idea that matters, it's also how you implement it, how you go through a very deeper understanding of various human factors, various insights which we generate through various kinds of research methods, which includes both qualitative and quantitative research techniques to understand to understand various behavioral patterns and design for them. So therefore, as we say, that it is very important for us to understand community or understand the user from a very grounded up approach rather than a very top-down approach. So we believe on participatory research, we believe on collaborative co-creation, we believe on staying with the community and building with the community and taking that idea forward. So that's where a lot of negotiation, a lot of interdisciplinarity means we don't say that means it anyway when as we nurture a project-led learning system rather than lecture-based learning. So when we take up a project and we work for a project, we eventually have to get into various disciplines to address that project. So so that way, it is needless to mention that how interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary we are, because a project cannot be cannot depend on a single discipline. So that way we work on the project, we work on the context, we work on the scenario deeply to understand that how do we address the problem. So this is all about what design-led innovation is, and generally we have a module and with a set of units. So the flow of the program is more like that. We have cycles of innovation where we generally nurture various kinds of thinking process like divergent thinking, convergent thinking, things like how do we understand various creative practices, various creative methodologies to understand something which is rooted in culture, which is very rooted in various work practice or various kinds of social structure or social dynamics. So that way we start the journey from there. We go through a very intense design research process. We adopt various innovation framework, which is already which is driven from various theories we pick up. And the most important part which we focus a lot on is behavior, user behavior. So from there we start the journey to ideate, to design for a community or for a product or develop a service through a various kinds of system thinking approach, means which again includes both product and service and systems. Then we learn how do we manage innovation, means how what are the various strategies, how do we go for a product testing with in-house, means an alpha testing followed by a beta testing, and finally get into market realization. So that lot of negotiation, lot of project management capability which come into place during that point of time. We have to bank on those methods, and we develop on the idea which we have already developed. And one more important thing, in masters we generally encourage students for independent learning to a great extent, and we want them to work on an idea for a certain period of time till they go up to capstone level. So it's a 2 years program, and there we try to develop their portfolio based on a set of independent knowledge they develop from various kinds of studios and workshop, but their line of inquiry remains same. Means that is what we encourage, so that go up to a level of developing a project which can go and for some kind of funding opportunities which can go for academic publication and things like that. So in order to make that happen, one has to stick to a problem for a certain period of time or get engaged with any kind of faculty project which is in-house to work with that project which is going on for a certain period of time. And then they kind of and one more module which we have is how do we map future, how do we create, how do we develop prototype with prototyping and user testing or persuasion, and followed by, and as our professor from IIHS was mentioning about the role of economics, which we also believe very strongly, the role of development economics for developing an ideation and working for the society at large. So with this, we try to build a set of capabilities among our students which help them to blend and synthesize business design and technology knowledge. They can think or see at system level with analytical, critical, and strategic thinking. They can see and connect, consciously unearth and combine diverse experiences, various kinds of experience. As we all know, we are in the era of experience, and our entire significant amount of economy is being driven by experience, which Vinita has likely mentioned before. And how do we build and make a very strong link between design and innovation? When an individual and an idea become responsible and resilient, so that is another important and difficult task which we try to do, that how do we create a resilient framework, how do we understand a society, how do we understand a resilient community which can thrive and survive on its own. So that is what our focus is, and we predominantly focus a lot on distributed economy. We believe a lot on distribution. We believe a lot on insulation of economy, and more into scaling out rather than scaling up, and with how well we speculate the risk is better we learn to deal with uncertainty. So anyway, this is the flow of the program with the core units which we have. And yeah, thank you. So just we go to just a glimpse of our alumni, the kind of job roles generally they are playing in industry right now, just for you to review it once. So yeah, I just run through our alumni working in various domains, which includes social and various kinds of, and which includes healthcare, which includes social innovation, which also, they also get into academia, they go for their PhDs and things like that. They are also, as a predominantly they take up roles in UX researchers and product development role in industry, along with social innovation, someone who is interested to work in industry or in a social space. And we also nurture entrepreneurship. We encourage students to develop their startups. So, and fintech is another area which is coming up in a very big way, where many of our alumni are currently moving into. So, thank you.
Hi everyone. So I don't have any presentation to show because I choose to come here for this event at the very last moment. But I'm Dr. Pooja Jain. I am the academic dean for all the postgraduate programs at Srishti. So more likely my three colleagues have very well conducted and have carried out quite an intensive, in-depth overview of their programs. But in large, I just want to highlight few things about the admission process, about certain other PG programs that we offer at Srishti, and about the entrance exam. So as Mamta included the overview of how we run a program in Srishti, but how are you going to reach to that level if you are not being able to qualify for the entrance exam? So that's something very, very important that you have to know. So Srishti keeps an entrance exam which is known as SMEET, Srishti Manipal Entrance Aptitude Test. You have to, if at all you want to apply for any of the PG course over there, you have to apply for this program, for this entrance exam, which involves one written test, which is known as Graduate Research Aptitude Test, which carries 45% of your total marks. Out of that, besides 45, we have one evidence of competency. That means a kind of a portfolio, which also includes primarily a reflection of what all programs that you want to apply. So Srishti does allow you to apply for more than one program, and at one given time, you can apply to 4 programs. So if at all you are applying to one or more than one, in your evidence of competency, you have to include the works that you would like to show as the pieces which a panelist or panel members would like to look at, and on the basis of that, they will clarify or ask questions in the viva voce. So these are the 3 stages. First is the GRAT, which is the written aptitude test. Second is the evidence of competency, which is EOC, along with SOP, which is statement of purpose. And third, you will be called for a viva voce, which is an interview schedule. And these are the levels for you to qualify for any PG program at Srishti. Now, in Srishti, we have 2 pathways. One is MDes, which is Masters of Design program. And under MDes, we have 4 programs. One is DLI, which is Design-Led Innovation, as Sanjukta have already taken you through. Another one is Information Arts and Information Design Practices, which is IAIDP.
Third is industrial arts and design practices. And fourth one is human-centered design. So these 4 programs comes under the larger umbrella of MDes. And besides that, we have an MA program, which is the MA pathway, Masters of Art. And under that, the specializations that we offer are visual communication, as also been known as graphic design or communication design. Besides that, we have experience design, we have contemporary art practice, as been told by Mamta and Vinita, and animation. So we have, under MA, we have 4 programs, under MDes, we have 4 programs, right? The eligibility criteria, everything has been stated very clearly on the website. However, we are making some changes in the eligibility criteria, also in terms of the core offerings, the core studios and the units that we offer under each program. So the website is under the phase of transition, and hopefully by the mid of December, it will be done. So if at all you are interested to go and look for any particular program, either you may write to us on email, or the faculty heads, I mean all the programs have been headed by a faculty. 3 of us are sitting here. But besides that, you can also write to any other faculty or to the academic office or to me or the other academic dean. So you can write to us if you have any questions. By mid of December, we should be able to upload and update the entire website, and the admission process begins in the first week of January. Okay, our session for 24-25 will begin in the first week of August, and our first round of entrance exam will happen somewhere in April. So we do conduct more than 1 entrance test, because we know that for most of the colleges, PG exam, for undergrad exams get over only by the end of May or somewhere. It also spills over in June. So we do give opportunity to the students to apply at multiple stages. So first round of our entrance exam happens in April. Second round will happen somewhere in the month of June, and third round will happen in the month of July. So you have multiple opportunities to come and apply for any program, any PG program at Srishti. If you have missed out round 1, round 2, still round 3 is there. Okay. All right. So now, any questions, anything you would like to ask related to on all the 3 programs that they presented, or in general about the PG courses at Srishti, please ask. I myself am a faculty of visual communication besides my administrative role of academic dean. I am a faculty for visual communication, so anybody interested in any kind of visual communication, graphic design, communication studies related questions, you can just put that across, or we have my 3 colleagues as well. Okay, one more thing. We do have a course, a program called PGDP, which is Postgraduate Diploma Program, which is a 1-year diploma program. If you come for a MA course, which is MA, it does give you an opportunity of an exit criteria after 1 year. So either you can apply for a PGDP itself directly, or if you have even taken admission in any of your MA program, and after 1 year you feel that, okay, I've learned enough, I now want to go out in the industry and explore. So you have that exit criteria after 1 year, and you will get a PGDP degree. So even if you enroll yourself in a PG MA course, you still can exit after 1 year and get a PGDP degree, which will be certified by Manipal Academy of Higher Education. So only the MA program has the exit criteria, not the MDes program. For MDes, we do have a bridge program, which is you have to do a PGDP bridge to be able to eligible for the MDes program, any of the pathways. Okay. Yes.
Can you tell me about the fee structure of?
Okay, so right now I won't be able to tell you the exact figure, but the fee ranges between 4 to 5 for each program, depending on different programs. However, as I told you that there are certain changes happening, so anything for sure, the fee as well as the criterias and other requirements, you will get to see on the website by the mid of December. Annually. Okay, I'll call Vinita to answer that. The question is scope of UX design.
Can you give me a clue as to what you understand today about UX design? Maybe I can help you. Scope is okay. Still want to continue? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, please stand.
Finding a different route. That is the scope of UX design, I guess. What do you understand of UX design as of now? Because in the general parlance, there is a certain understanding. So I want to get that first. It'll be nice to know.
I'm not quite sure if I'm right, but I think it means user interface and user interaction.
Yes.
So I'm at two minds because right now we're at our 4th year in architecture and we don't really know if, I don't really know if I want to pursue it. So just thinking of alternative fields.
Right.
So looking for information.
Yeah. Right. So, okay, I think to help you understand that, see, we as architecture students, we look at how people orient themselves in space, right? People also orient themselves in digital spaces, right? And there are very nuanced ways in which people operate. So user experience design is kind of an umbrella term. Under that, you would have user experience design, which by definition, if you Google it also, it will be about how people experience the products that you design for them. So the products, systems, services, that dimension. And if you go to the nitty-gritty of it, you experience it through something. So that interface becomes that thing through which you are having that interaction. So I'll give you a very simple example. WhatsApp is an app that is used by people of all kinds of backgrounds, and irrespective of literacy, you can use it, like the range of literacy. You can also record your voice and share a message even if you may not understand how to interpret the text words. And that's the scope of digital tech, where you can still communicate without having the barrier of literacy, for example. So digital technologies. So if you look at digital things, they are materials without qualities. It is code, it is algorithms, but they shape you and your world as well. So WhatsApp, it is a screen, the interface, but what happens through it is way more complex. The interactions that are possible is way more complex. So user experience design and experience design as a whole is trying to understand how to negotiate those complexities. And so the scope of it can be, so you could become a researcher tomorrow at any, it could be an NGO, it could be a researcher at a technological institution, could be a Google, Facebook. There is a student who is currently working in Germany in a dating app solution called Lovoo. And she liked that because it was looking at relationships and interactions. So the tech is digital. That is the material you play with. Like in product design or industrial design, you would work with wood or metal, and in architecture you would think of spaces and how people use a space, the flow and all of that. Here it is how people orient themselves around digital technologies. And we also look at the ethical implications of it, how data can be biased, and all of those things come into the play. So you can work in the ethics department in an organization as well. So the scope is vast. You get to understand the basics of it, so you can apply it in many places. So all of these ranges are open, and that is the fun of being part of the PG program here in SMI, because you can hop and skip and learn from across all our disciplines. There is a sign-up based format and TDRs, which are transdisciplinary. So you can associate yourself with labs which do work across. So some of our students are architects who have joined and who are exploring how interior spaces change with technologies embedded in them and things like that. So yeah, that is a long answer to a short question. Thank you.
Mom, like an additional doubt for UI UX itself.
Okay.
So if we want to join UI UX, so is there any prerequisite like skills that we need to acquire, like coding or anything? Like suppose like I don't know any of those, so I know that UI UX needs certain skill set of coding. So do we need to know it prior, or how does the course work for like maybe UI UX?
So the interesting thing about it is we do, because it's a program that happens after 3 years of a study as well. The MAs do not require a 4-year professional program. It's 3 years. So we already have students who belong to very interesting backgrounds. Like the current students also include somebody from creative manufacturing, graphic design, sociology, as I mentioned, interior design. So their backgrounds and their expertise is not in coding right now. If they want to explore that trajectory, they can. It is one more way of looking at it, but it's not the only way to look at it. I think your prerequisite you're fulfilling in some way when you're an architecture student. You want to understand how people interact with spaces. So the form changes here where we are looking at digital materials, but as such, you have to be deeply curious and be okay to ask tough questions. Then I think it's fine.
I guess.
Thank you.
Okay, just to build upon that, there are two things which can redefine or which can create the ethos of the PG space at Srishti, and those two things are research and inquiry. Okay, so you need not to have any prerequisites as such. If you are really curious about something, if you observe something, an inquiry emerges. You are very inquisitive about knowing something, about digging deeper into it, scaffolding the layers for it. The moment that kind of an inquiry emerges in your head, you can very well come to Srishti. So if you have that kind of inquiry-driven learning capability, and if you have the critical thinking as well as creative thinking. So if you feel that you have all these three things, inquiry, critical thinking, and creative thinking, you're most welcome, and you will go, you will be able to sustain in Srishti. So it's not that you need any prerequisite. We do have students coming from engineering backgrounds. We do have students coming from architecture and many varied disciplines. And so far they have been enjoying it. And the only thing that drives them to Srishti was the passion and the involvement and acceptance towards research, because PG space is a heavily research-driven space. So, and every inquiry that emerges has to have a research with it, right? Then only we can take it. So that is something which is there. If at all anybody of you over here is interested in knowing what we do at Srishti, how the students perform, what kind of work they have produced in one semester, the semester of this current academic year, we will be having an open house on 23rd of December on our Bengaluru campus, which is in Yelahanka. Do visit. We are going to share the posters with your faculty over here. So if at all it's an open day, so you can visit any time between 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on that day. You'll be able to interact with the students. You'll be able to see a plethora of works that they have done under each program, and you'll be able to see the campus as well. So till then, you have time. If you have more questions, shoot it out on that day. Okay. Any more questions so far? Are we good? All right. Thank you so much.